I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about the 30-30-30 rule on TikTok that is going so viral, and we are going to be breaking it down. My name is Kwame. I'm a professional world champion bodybuilder, and today we're going to be going through the science of it, if the 30-30-30 rule actually works, or if it's a fad. Stay with me and let's explain. So what is the 30-30-30 rule? I think the 30-30 rule is 30 grams of protein, 30 minutes of low intensity fasted cardio, and you do all of this upon waking, 30 minutes upon waking. Okay, so this is the breakdown of it. So is 30-30-30 rule a scam? Is it a fad, or is it actually legit? Let's break it down. So in my years of bodybuilding, competing professionally, win the world title as well, I have learned a lot from other people. I've also learned about different goals and what people want out of training and nutrition as well. And one of the biggest things is consistency when it comes to training and nutrition, and that's the biggest winner. A lot of people use the 30-30-30 rule for weight loss, and I think this is amazing for weight loss. I'll tell you the positives of it, I'll tell you the negatives of it, and I'll tell you how you can actually utilize this to your advantage, or if you shouldn't even waste your time. So basically, what are the benefits of a 30-30 rule that is said on TikTok? You know, to improve your fat metabolism, control your blood glucose and hunger levels, enhance energy and mood, and support your body recomposition. Well, some of these are true. In fact, all of it is true. However, there's always a but, and that's what I'm going to explain. Okay, so the first one is 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes. So when it comes to protein synthesis, and all of you would know that protein synthesis is essential for your muscle recovery. That's one of the most important things. Not just muscle recovery, just recovery in general as well. So we want to actually be able to have better protein synthesis. This can actually aid in your protein synthesis. So upon 30 minutes of waking, having 30 grams of protein, your body is basically you sleeping for about 8 hours, right? And at that point, you're probably going to have less protein available for your body. So having that is a great way to continue your muscle protein synthesis, which can aid in fat loss. So I'll give that tick there as well too. Now, let's talk about the next one, which is your appetite regulation for the 30 grams of protein. If you do have 30 grams of protein as your first thing in the morning, one, you're not having glucose, which means you're going to have less glucose spikes. For those of you that don't know what glucose spikes are, is basically when you have a lot of glucose in your bloodstream and it's free glucose and your blood glucose levels go up. That's a spike, and your body needs insulin. So insulin is an anabolic hormone that's released into your body when in the presence of glucose. Your body needs insulin to push into your muscles. Now if you don't have enough muscle, it's not going to have anywhere to go. Spikes your blood glucose levels. In turn, you start getting tired, you get drowsy, easier to put on body fat as well too, because with less energy, you can burn less in a day at the same time. And there's a lot more to, not just if you don't have muscle, even if your glucose spikes are too high, this can affect you negatively. So having protein as a source of energy or food in that instance, as opposed to carbohydrates, this can actually help with your blood glucose spikes as well. So this is a great one. Okay. Now also, protein has a high thermic effect. So explaining what thermic effect is basically your body has to actually get to a certain temperature in order to break down food or burn calories. And that just means that certain foods actually need more energy to be able to break down. And protein has a high thermic effect. That also means that you burn excess calories from some of these macronutrients. It's a lot easier for your body. Like protein is probably got one of the highest thermic effects out of all your macronutrients as well too. So if anything, a high protein diet is going to help you. So starting your day off with a high protein diet can be beneficial in this way as well too. And then we talked about your insulin sensitivity, which is related to your blood glucose levels. Now insulin is an anabolic hormone. So what insulin does is it helps with repair. So what happens is when your blood glucose goes high, insulin is released into your bloodstream and it pushes it into your muscles. However, if your insulin release is being triggered by consistent blood glucose release and there's nowhere to put it, you're going to have high glucose level, you're going to have glucose spikes, and this is not very efficient for your body. So when you're in the presence of insulin, it is very hard for your body to actually burn body fat. So while insulin is present, carbohydrates is going to be utilized as a fuel source because it needs to basically get pushed into the muscle and get used. However, while your insulin isn't present, it's easier for your body to switch to fat as a fuel source, which that's where the low intensity cardio comes in, because low intensity cardio basically utilizes fat as a predominant fuel source as opposed to carbohydrates. So this is very important. Okay, so let's move into the cardio side, because I want to actually get you guys to understand the science behind this before we go into is this important and where it's important and where it isn't. So we talked about this earlier, and we're just gonna go on to the fat oxidation state. With your insulin levels being low, your body can utilize fat as a fuel source as well too, and your body can actually burn fat. So that's very important. Low intensity cardio utilizes predominantly fat as a fuel source as opposed to glycogen or glucose. Okay. Now, if you are also losing body fat as well, you also want to keep as much muscle as possible. If you go into high intensity cardio as well, this could potentially end up eating into your muscle a lot more, especially being in a deficit. Being in a deficit, going with a low intensity cardio, your body might actually be able to preserve a lot more muscle, and also having better protein synthesis, more muscle as well too. Now, the next thing is like a cortisol sink. Okay, so what happens is your cortisol levels can sync up with your body's rhythm as well too. So this is very important. So like your body would basically align with a natural rhythm of your cortisol sync, and rather than like utilizing cortisol as a basically, oh, I'm going to help you hold more fluid in your like lower body or in your belly or whatever, your body is actually going to utilize cortisol as an example, because cortisol is a stress hormone. It's released when there's stress as well too. So why in the morning, which is the last 30? So we've done the first 30, which is 30 grams of protein, then our second 30, which is basically 30 minutes of low intense cardio. Now third 30, which is why in the morning. Okay, now in the morning, especially being fasted as well too, you're building a habit. Okay, it's very easy to start your day usually your body is at homeostasis in the morning. So the first thing is habit building. We all know consistency is number one, and we're also starting the day right as well too. You're balancing out all your blood glucose levels effectively, not starting off your day crashing. And I told you this before, and this all kind of relates into each other, because if you start your day off just going hard with the glucose, and I'm not saying that you can't have carbs for breakfast. I'm going to do a full topic on this in another video. When you guys will probably feel this as well too, when sometimes you literally start your days in the morning, you've had a beautiful sleep, and then you're already tired, and it's not even 12 p.m. yet. Usually this is caused from a glucose spike. Okay, if you are moving effectively, your body can utilize this. But like I said, I don't want to go too much in depth with this, because I don't want to confuse you, and I want to stick to this topic. But I will do a video completely on this topic as well. This is going to be awesome as well too. So again, when you develop a routine, your body's got something called a body clock, or the circadian rhythm, and having this consistency, your body aligns with this. So an example to explain this is, have you noticed that if you are a morning person and you always train in the morning, and then you try train at night, you don't have as much energy at night? So this is your circadian rhythm. So the way your body clock works is it adapts to a certain routine and habits. So like, sometimes let's say it gets darker, you start to get tired and you want to sleep. When it gets brighter, you rise with the sun. So that's your circadian rhythm. So you're adapting this is basically just habit building and adaptation to your circadian rhythm as well too. And again, it's always going to be glucose management. Okay, so here's some of the concepts that, like, from a scientific perspective, work. Okay, so studies have shown that consuming anything over 25 grams of protein plus can help with protein synthesis. So there's also studies that show fasted cardio could potentially, although I don't know how strong the studies that back fasted cardio there is another study which I would contradict when it comes to this, where, and I'm actually going to do a full topic. This just gives me ideas for more topics, because I'm going to do a full topic on, that's going to be the next episode, how to effectively do fasted cardio. Okay, so we'll talk about that. I personally don't believe that you will get more out of just doing cardio fasted, but there is a way to do it properly. So this topic, I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to actually say I don't believe with this. I don't believe there's enough evidence that suggests that you're going to burn more fat as opposed to if you did the cardio at any other time as well too. Okay. Yeah. Also, you know, timing, nutrient timing as well too. This again becomes debatable as well too. But if you want to keep things simple as well too, the 30-30-30 rule works because one, it kicks off your metabolism. It targets fat stores when insulin is low. It apparently preserves lean muscle mass and stabilizes your blood glucose hormones, and through something simple, very easy. Okay, so now let me actually get my full opinion on this. We've talked about the science behind this. What do I think of this? One, if you're looking to build muscle, you are going to have to lift weights, 100%. I think this is actually great for someone that wants to build muscle. However, you still have to lift weights. Lift with progressive overload. Aim to improve your strength. Aim to work on your form and technique, and ensure that you are actually getting stronger, 100%. Undulate your periodization. And this again, we can also talk about. When I talk about undulation of periodization, we are talking about having a mix of, you know, strength days and having a mix of volume where you're working and building through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And guys, if you don't understand any of these things, I'm just trying to quickly lay over these in this video rather than clump up too much information. So just feel free to drop in the comments below and I'll explain further. But undulate your periodization, because this will help your body and you will grow. That's okay to do your fasted cardio and the 30 grams of protein. That's not going to impact or negatively impact your muscle building. So you can build muscle on this. However, you do need to train with resistance training. So that's number one for me. Number two, can you lose body fat with this? Yes, but for a period of time. I think the 30-30-30 rule is amazing for anyone that's wanting to really just start their journey, kickstart body fat loss, for someone that's not really doing too much. If you are an advanced and intermediate to advanced trainer, this might not really work as well for you. Okay. However, if you aren't, or if you're also eating in a caloric surplus over your maintenance and your goal is weight loss, you're not going to be losing weight, because at the end of the day, it's still going to be calories in versus calories out. Okay, this only applies to someone that this is basically going to put them in a deficit, and if this helps put you in a deficit, then this rule applies very well. So these are some of the things to consider, especially when you see these TikTok trends about, you know, 30-30 rules as well. To know your base, know that at the end of the day, it's calories in, calories out. And then when you go deeper into it, it's also your metabolism. How efficient is your metabolism? And then when you go deeper into it as well too, you know, it's how efficient are your hormones working as well too, and are you doing everything? Now, there's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. Okay, if you want to lose weight, this will help you lose weight. You don't need anything else, and just be in the deficit. Okay, keep this habit routine. If you're a beginner, you definitely would, because you're probably not already doing anything towards your goals, and that alone will put you in the deficit if you're still eating the same way and just incorporating this. If you're an intermediate to advanced trainer, or you've already been doing stuff, remember that this might help to some degree, but it's not going to be basically a problem solver. Now, another thing I want to quickly talk about as well too is, this is a great tool. And I look, you know, I know people say trends, myth, whatever. I think this is a great tool for anyone that's just looking to start their journey, and I feel like you can improve a lot with this over time. And that's one of the biggest things. Like, if this gets people to start, I'm all for TikTok trends when it comes to this. So these are some of the important things you want to think about when you guys come across these trends and stuff like that. If your goal is fat loss as well, One, are you strength training because you want to preserve muscle? Two, are you actually eating in a deficit or tracking your food as well too? If you don't want to get too complicated with those things, just start off simple. That will help you quite a lot. But at a certain point, your body will adapt to whatever you do. So that means it's going to plateau. So that also means you're either going to have to increase your activity level, or you're going to have to reduce the food intake. Keep your protein high as well too. Keep your carbs around training so it is actually utilizing your insulin sensitivity is under great control as well. And keep to nice and healthy fats. Examples are like some nice MCT oils, nuts, seeds, avocado, and so on and so forth. If you guys really enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate your time. Your boy is out. Peace.